Okay. C'è una luna mensumara, mamma mia, mamma di da.
All right.
All right, yeah.
Yes.
All right. Welcome back. Another episode of Nee and Fee Brotherhood. We have two very, very special guests tonight. We've been waiting a while to get these guys in. We have direct from Italy. We got Dom and we got Ted. Giovanni on the other side of the glass as usual. He's joined by Inez. And remember, at the end of the episode, you like what you see, subscribe, thumbs up, comment, good or bad. You're not going to hurt our feelings.
We'll never hurt our feelings.
We're not going to get scared because we'll
We'll
get out of the car. All right, let's jump right into
All right. This is a special honor to have two great men with us. This episode is titled Growing a Battalion. We're going to get an aspect that we never thought we could accomplish, but here we are. We're going to start with our friend Ted here. Ted has seen a lot, has done a lot. He's achieved a lot, and I think we're lucky to know him. Ted, if you could just give us an idea of what it was like to be in Italy as a child during World War II and your journey to America.
It was horrible, obviously, and let me go back to January 1943. I was almost 5 years old. We were living in the town of Castelforte, which is my native town. And there is a big knock on the door, and the Germans came to get us because we did not evacuate as everybody else did, or most of the people did. They put us in trucks and they brought us to the town of Ceprano, in the first of many concentration camps. I remember, if I close my eyes, like it was yesterday, that the town of Ceprano, the church in the town of Ceprano, it was dark at night, and we were assaulted immediately. We were assaulted by mice, rats. Within the next 3-4 days, all of us kids was full of lice, not just in our hair, but all over our body. And that was the beginning of a very long saga, which lasted about 18 months, through many concentration camps. We finally ended up, about a year and a half later, in the town of San Martino Sollargen in province of Mantua. And within the next couple of weeks after we got there, in another concentration camp, the war ended, and a family in the town of San Martino came to get each family in the concentration camp and bring them home with them. And that's where we lived. We lived with this family for a month and a half. By we, I mean myself, 4 siblings, 2 older brothers, 2 younger brothers, and my sister, who was born in one of the concentration camps. My mother was pregnant with my sister when we were taken in January. When we decided to go back with some help of the government, trucks and trains, we ended up going back home to Castelforte, but there was nothing there. Our house was not livable. The Allied troops had erected some tents, some barracks, and that's where we stayed.
the U.S. troops.
It was a combination U.S., Australian, New Zealand, Canadians.
Okay.
They were under the command of the English, though. They were under the command of Montgomery.
Okay.
And as the people tried to go back, because it's mostly an agricultural area, as the people went back to the field and tried to work the field, every day you heard explosions because the place was full of mines everywhere you went, okay? Including my grandfather's vineyard. When the people that worked the land went back to it, the entire family went up in the air. They caught a mine, and that was it.
That's it.
Horrible, man. So did you spend the whole war in the concentration camp? You were there for
Just about. But in 1943, the war was already on for a while.
Yeah,
By
well.
the time they got to us, was
Yeah.
1943.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
and that's the beginning of it. So, after a while, my father got his job back with whatever government was there, and we went back into the city. That's in Naples. And in Naples, I didn't like it.
No.
It was a small apartment. There were too many of us. 6 of us. 2 cousins were living with us because they wouldn't go to school in Naples. Because back home, there were no schools open. And I decided to go back. I asked my father if I could go back to the town and live with my grandparents who were still there. Of the house, my grandparents' house, there were 2 rooms left. One on the bottom where my grandparents lived, and one on top where I slept. And that's by now 1950, 1949, 1950. Still things get back to normal a little bit. We all moved back into Naples, including myself. That's where we go to school, all of us. And then because it was convenient to live near Naples, but not in Naples, we moved to Scauri. Scauri is the place where I spent those years. And one day, I was visiting my next door neighbors, and there is this young girl from America
Gloria.
Oh, here we go.
who was visiting relatives. She was there with her mother. So it was like lightning. We fell in love with each other immediately.
Yeah.
And this is 1956.
Yep.
Yeah. But this young lady, by the name of Gloria, had 2 American friends who were in Italy at the same time. And their names were Inez and Dominic D'Acunto.
We saw that romance just grow and grow in all forms.
Because
Yeah.
we were always together.
Yeah.
And in fact, Dominic, Inez was not, but when we decided that I had to make a move and move to the States, I asked Gloria to marry me. Don't forget, I'm 18 years old, almost 19. My parents didn't want, her parents certainly didn't want, as she used to tell me, and I didn't know what it meant because I did not understand English. Her parents did not want, particularly her father, did not want her to marry a greenhorn, whatever that means.
It's a pejorative remark.
Her mother didn't say that, and her mother was American-born. Her father said that, and he was Italian-born. And his English was horrible.
Yeah.
His name was
looking at retrospectively.
Mr. Rizzi.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Andrew Rizzi. So to make it legal, I have to get married in Italy. But she wants to get married in church when she gets back to the States.
Uh-huh.
So we make a deal. We get married in Italy at City Hall. My mother gives a nice party. Dominic was there. I have a photograph with Dominic there. And then they leave for the States the next morning. And it took about 3 months. By now it's 1957. It takes 3-4 months for me to get here. Once I get here, it's another saga because I didn't have a trade. I went to school in Italy. I didn't know how to do anything. So I asked my father-in-law to help me to either get a job or help me to go to school for 6 months and then I'll find my way. Instead of doing that, he found me a job at the hat factory, which is
Or what?
the closest thing to labor camps in Siberia. And little by little,
I would slide that so he doesn't have to lean forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I got used to it. But Gloria wanted to be a hairdresser. So she enrolled in the hairdressing school in Stanford. And one morning I took her upstairs to school, and I saw that all the students there were all young kids, our age, 18, 19, 20. And I said, what a wonderful place to be. Maybe I should join and go to school here so I can learn English. And that's exactly what I did. I became a hairdresser.
And learned English at the same time.
That's how it starts. Yes.
As soon as I became a hairdresser, I opened up a shop in Stanford. And then I opened up 2 in Darien. And I did that. I did hairdressing for a long time. And then I got tired of it. And I changed venue. But that should be another chapter, I think.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, and I just want to point out, with Ted pointed out 1943, September 11th is such an American date, but for this generation, that's such an important date. That is when the Germans took over Rome, and they also freed Mussolini, and it was in retaliation for Italy joining with the Allied forces.
Mussolini was not in Rome.
Well, when he was freed.
Mussolini wasn't freed. Mussolini was
In Milan.
in Milan.
In Milan, okay.
And he was caught by the partisans and killed by the partisans
Right.
And
and hung upside down.
Yeah. Well, I was comparing for 9/11.
The Allied didn't try to save Mussolini. The Germans tried to save Mussolini.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's why that date is so
Yeah.
important for that generation.
I actually
it was on
have,
September 11th.
I actually have pictures taken there of Mussolini dead.
Upside down.
And his wife.
And no, his
girlfriend.
mistress.
Mistress.
Yeah. My grandfather was there. He was in the army.
Is that right?
He was there, and he has pictures of him. It's a little leather book with 2 pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I suppose we could juxtapose now the Italian immigrants' children growing up in Darien, because 1956, 55, 50 to 56, let's say, were very critical years for my sister and I.
Okay, yes.
And just to interject the fact that we hung out with them, even though I was 12, he was 18, 17.
Yeah.
It was kind of exciting for us because here we were 2 American kids. And suddenly we have these American people who were fun. Gloria was really a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And her mother was a very interesting woman.
Yeah.
So, and then there was this romance, right? Who,
Yeah.
a very debonair, handsome guy at the time.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, growing up in Darien.
Darien,
there's a-
Connecticut, by the way,
Yeah,
for
right.
people
So,
watching.
Yeah, right. Not the infamous of Darien. Yeah. And it was totally different for me than it was for my sister. Totally different. My sister was a quiet, sweet girl. Okay. I was a little more outgoing, a little more interested, extroverted. But some of the critical things that I kind of remember, there was a very subtle racism. Maybe condescension, maybe not racism per se. And we probably brought it on ourselves in the sense that we were different. Our parents didn't run out and buy the latest clothes, or our mother didn't speak English real well. But a small event, when you're an American kid and you go to play at someone's house and it's lunchtime, they give you Velveeta with mayonnaise and white bread, okay?
Yeah.
So occasionally I would invite someone, I'd say to Mom, and she said, oh yeah, she'd make chicken in the stove with potatoes. It was a day she was making bread, so she'd make pizza. I couldn't get the kids out of the house. So that was a kind of an interesting little thing.
Yeah.
But essentially, it was kind of a thing, and the reason why I bring up the difference between my sister and I, my sister didn't get a chance to take advantage of Darien. I did. For all of whatever they were, I took advantage. I learned their culture. I learned to speak like they speak. I was motivated to go to school. I got good grades. I played sports. I learned to dress like them. So for me, for whatever I overcame, which I'm not trying to be a martyr about it, it was fine. It was fine. But my sister was a little different, and she can tell you her story.
Well, being from an Italian family, the girl always had to stay around the kitchen and with the mother. And I can remember walking from our home to the grocery store because my mom didn't speak English. So I had to be the interpreter. But luckily, we shopped at Palmer's in Darien, Connecticut, and they were Italian. So Mom was able to get along with them and buy what she had to buy. And then we walked back home, and I'll never forget this day. She had a bundle of groceries, and I had something very small to carry. And I found $5. My mom has stepped over it, that $5 bill. And I was the happiest kid in the world. It was worth all of that interpreting and walking.
Right.
Yeah, but I was sort of like a tomboy. I loved climbing trees, playing outside, cowboys and Indians. I had a great bringing up and great neighborhood. But my brother was more sort of aggressive. He was out there with all his friends, and I was more stay at home with my mom.
Right.
But
Which a lot of women did. Right?
Yeah. But I still had fun.
I want to add a couple of things that I just suddenly realized. Her walking to the store with my mother, do you know how far they walked?
How far do you think?
Carrying, I'd say from where we lived to where the center must have been at least a mile and a half.
Definitely.
Uphill.
Both ways.
No, downhill one way. So, and my mother, for a woman who actually was raised in a fairly affluent house, the Sassos weren't exactly poor. Yeah. She took on this role of, right. I mean, she was powerful. She really worked hard, cooked, washed, everything. Mm-hmm. But the other thing was that made us a little different, which we dealt with in different ways. We had a massive garden.
Oh, yeah.
That's the difference.
When I say massive, I'm talking about probably, I'd say 100 feet long.
Wow.
Okay? By probably 25 or 30 feet wide. Wow. That's a lot of tomatoes, a lot of vegetables.
Yes.
My father learned to be able to keep parsley and
potatoes.
Yeah. Well, the big thing, he kept them all the way into the winter.
Really?
He would cover them with plastic and then cover them with leaves. And so that they stayed green. So we always seemed to have fresh stuff.
Oh, wow.
And of course, my mother bottled 200 bottles or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So
Jar of tomatoes.
And olives. Okay,
Yeah.
you had the olives. We used to break them with a hammer and fix them until they got brown. Then you had the ones you put in the water that with salt that got sweetened up. So we learned all these things as if we were in Italy. The only thing we couldn't do is buy some. We didn't have fico secco that we made, from the
Fig tree.
the fig trees and stuff, et cetera, et cetera. But or the mela nurk, that you'd buy in the winter a quindal and you'd lay them out and eat them all winter. They're a special apple, by the way, the mela nurk. I don't know what really the translation is, but so there's so many things that are hard to explain. Not hard to explain, but that you really don't recall how important they were. My mother's theory was that it doesn't make any difference what you wear as long as you're clean.
Yeah, right.
Remember that? Basta che vai pulito, So there's so many things that were so simple. And the hard part is the juxtaposition. Even if we lived in Stamford and Norwalk, I think it would have been different. But in Darien, there was a little Italy, but it wasn't what we were part of. We went to school, and we were part of a whole different culture,
Right.
Of
kids tiny Italy.
Kids that wasted stuff. We didn't waste stuff in our house.
Right.
Anyway, that's more of the mores of the cultural part that we had to live with as well as the culture we were going to school in.
Yeah.
So that was the part of a kid growing up, not only with Italian parents, but with living in that particular town.
Oh, yeah.
And we won't go into where we lived and the housing we had and et cetera, because that almost is embarrassing at this point, at this time. You tell them, Inez.
Well, the housing was what they defined as a railroad track, I guess.
Railroad apartment. Yeah.
Apartment, and no heat. We had this big black stove that served as a cooking area, a heating area, and we had a coal chute that would go down into the basement, and that would keep us warm. And it was only in the kitchen. So my brother and I had the room next to that kitchen near the stove, and my parents were down at the other end, and we were fine. We were never sick
No.
because we didn't have all that heat. And I can remember the windows with Jack Frost all frosted up because
I mean, we're talking about, excuse me for interrupting, I'm talking about probably a quarter of an inch of ice because it wasn't thermopane. It was whatever heat they got here, the freezing.
Yeah.
It would freeze, the condensation.
Wow.
And I remember as it warmed up, we used to always try to, we were always afraid we were going to break the window.
Yeah.
But it was kind of amazing because we were talking about it occasionally. We said, could we really admit that we lived in Darien in a cold water place where she used to heat the hot water in things for us to take a bath? And one bathroom, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's almost incredible.
Yeah.
And that was pre-1956 because we went to Italy in 1956 and the throughway 95 was just being finished, just finishing. So I think as we go along, you'll hear more and more anecdotal things.
Wow.
But
Wow.
that's
That's amazing.
almost
That is
that
crazy.
to us is almost incredible.
Yeah.
You talk about what immigrants do and what they sacrifice and how they get somewhere. It could be a lesson for a lot of people about.
Of course.
They just thought that you had to feed your family, they had to be clean, you had to take care of them, you had to teach them to do things, to help.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to carry wood in from, my father would bring loads of dirt, he'd split them and have big piles of wood. And then we had some coal because at night you put the coal in there because it lasted longer,
Yeah.
okay? So, I mean, I don't know how my mother baked in that oven, how she knew what the hell the temperatures were, but
She did
it's
it.
amazing what you can do
yes,
if you only have limited resources and you have the willpower.
Right.
Yes.
Willpower,
Right.
really.
Well, even your sister and your niece have always spoken about recipes as nothing specific. It's a dash of this, it's a pinch of that, and when they try to recreate their childhood recipes from obviously your childhood, there's no measurement. It's everything.
Well,
with
you do
eyeballs.
it all the time, over and over. It always comes out right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then we had what they call the refrigerator.
Icebox.
It was
Icebox.
icebox.
Like I Love Lucy, that icebox.
with the chunk of ice at the top.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the guy would come in with the big claw.
Right.
Chunk of ice, put it there, and our food stayed.
For as long as the ice stayed.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was a job, the ice delivery guy, right? Put
Big
it over
deal.
his
Oh,
shoulder.
yeah,
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is that, remember, we got the milk was delivered. So he came, pretty often. And the milk came with big gobs of cream at the top.
That was the best, wasn't it?
Yeah. So either you shook it up or some people would take it off and use it
Yeah.
for recipes and stuff. That was real pure, thick cream.
And also, Mommy went over to Mrs. Weber's house. She was a German family, a lovely family, to learn how to make apple pie. Most delicious apple pie, and that's what I make now.
Really?
Yes, the
Is that
same.
where she learned to make it from
That's
Mrs.
where
Weber?
she learned to make it.
Krauts, huh?
Yeah.
Freddie.
Thanks. Sorry about that.
So how old were you guys when you lived in this house?
From the time we were little kids.
We were born.
we were
yeah,
born
we
there.
were
Could
born
you
there.
could you imagine the kids today at that age going through that?
Can you imagine them going to camp and for some reason the heat goes off or the electricity goes
Oh,
off?
they would be
Panic.
calling home.
Well, they wouldn't know what to do.
Come
They
pick
wouldn't
me
know what
up.
to do. Yeah.
With what phone?
One of the things, did you remember Pippi DeRigo?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, there was a guy who lived close to us. His parents are immigrants. I think he was born in America, but a very strong personality guy, okay? And I don't want to get saying because he was colored, but he was essentially. Is that racist? Yes.
No.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, maybe.
But you,
strong personality.
you're from
strong
Darien, after all.
Anyway, strong personality. The guy went into the army at 18, right, and fought in the Second World War. It's only important because he was part of our lives.
Yeah.
Went in and came out, I think, as a major, but then got called back for the Korean War
Yeah.
and was a big decorated hero. Then he came back, and they claimed he had malaria. He became very introverted. he would make a garden, and he would take every pebble out of it. Everything was precise.
Wow.
And he was really he used to speak very highly of the Koreans. He said, "You can't believe those people. The women would put 30-gallon oil on their head and walk up a mountain like this." Okay, so he would walk barefoot a lot. Okay, now they claim he had malaria. When I got to be about 30, I said he was shell shocked. He wouldn't have malaria.
Yeah.
What bull?
Yeah.
And I used to hang around with him like a little puppy. I was a little kid, right?
Yeah.
When the thruway came through, all the houses were abandoned. He used to go in there and take all the lead, because the pipes were lead then, all the copper, and we'd go sell it at
it, yeah.
Rubino's. And then he would pick up his father, who was a gardener, and we would take turns buying ice cream. Of course, he never let me pay for it. We used to go to the Tasty Freeze, which was in Darien. I mean, you're bringing back a flood of memories. I'm
Yeah.
not sure this
Good.
has to do with that.
You know, everything
this
is
is-
good.
this is it.
Yeah. And I think they finally made him a honorary colonel and wanted him to go to Washington, but he became very cynical, thought that America was unfair to the soldiers.
Yeah.
He said, "I spent years getting shot at, and they didn't have a parade for me. Some guy was in a concentration camp, and he had a big parade for him." And things like that ate at him, you know?
Right,
But
right.
a wonderful, very kind guy, but never got married. Had a lot of money from all these pensions and stuff he had.
Sure.
It's just a really nice guy. But that was an interesting guy. There were a lot of people in the neighborhood that were Italians, but nobody was Italian as we were.
Yeah.
Sure.
From the
the
boot.
oldest family is the Savarin family. They're Italian.
Yeah, Salian, Frade,
Yeah.
the Freights.
Frei
yeah.
Gennaro.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But and
Steve Zangrillo.
yeah, see, right. One of the things though that we found is that our father was very highly respected for a guy that was not pompous, but was really known as a hardworking guy, honest guy till whatever, his word was everything. He could take a lot of crap from guys too, because guys were funny about how they could. And the proudest day I ever had with my father is when he laid some guy out. I never thought that he would. He used to say, "Non giocare con le mani." He said, "Don't get into fights." I've seen too many guys in bar rooms get into fights, and they win with broken nose and an eye half ruined or teeth gone.
Yeah.
There's no percentages in it. His other big thing is no gambling. I don't know where he got that from. Yeah, gambling is dangerous, he said.
Yeah.
Mitte se gate da part. Can you imagine, John, So, interesting guy. When I was 12, he must have been 56.
But didn't he like to play cards?
Yes, he used to go he was a big pinochle player. Loved to play pinochle. In the winter when they couldn't work, he'd go over to Piedmont Club, play pinochle.
Yeah.
Now, Uncle Dom and Ted, the basis of this channel, how it started, is our friendship, Ed and I, is really based on music. That's how we came really to come together even before this. So music is such an important part of our life. Not that saying it isn't for everybody, but did it play a big part in your lives growing up in the 60s and Motown and the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and eventually Woodstock? Does any of that play?
Before I address that, my father was a great singer.
Yeah.
Oh,
He would
really?
sing these incredible songs. Oi Marie,
Really?
or Terra straniera, non ti ricordi più sti occhi
Yeah.
belli.
Did he go
I
up
still
to-
listen to some of that.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I mean, these songs that later, that was a very romantic song, and I never figured out whether he was talking to his girlfriend or his mother. When he said, it was just like that Irish song, Danny Boy.
Danny Boy.
He's really talking to his mother.
Yeah.
I figured that out finally.
How about that song, Dom? Oi Marie, oi Marie.
It's one of the many classical Neapolitan songs.
Well, my father loved all of those.
Yeah,
But if you want to listen to them, you can get all of them on YouTube and television, all you want.
I didn't know that.
Sure. I'll call you and tell you what to do. You can get anything you want.
Yeah, there's a great
Thank
one.
you.
4 hours.
Yeah, there's a great one that these young guys sing. Was it I can't remember.
Oh, those three guys?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like them.
You don't like them?
They're horrible.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but don't forget, you're talking to a snob when it comes to music.
Well, yeah. This is
Marianne.
part. O Sole Mio. They do a great job on O Sole Mio.
What do they? No, they
three
they,
tenors?
they
The three
massacre.
tenors.
Three tenors?
They massacre the Napoleon. O Sole Mio is a Napoleon song.
They got the accent.
Even Luciano Pavarotti
Yeah.
should never have sung
Sung
any
that song.
Napoleon song.
I agree with you there.
You have to be
Be
born in Naples
to sing those songs.
to sing. Yeah. And there are plenty of singers on YouTube. You can get it.
Yeah, that you can get.
For hours you can listen to
Yeah.
the real thing.
I've Googled particular songs on Google and heard them sung, which surprised me, but that was good. Anyway, as far as we'll get to your question about music, but
Absolutely.
it just brought that up with my father.
Yeah.
It's a good memory.
Yeah.
How he used to sing. And my mother, one more song, is that she was not agrarian, okay? Her father was a merchant. God only knows what he merchandised it, but, but he was a merchant. They had property. He had an inn. They had property. So they had people who would, back then, the women used to till the soil. So the thing is, when they worked for you, bring them food and wine, okay? And my mother used to say to me, "Il mazzolin di fiore." And then the other women would answer, "Che vien de la montagna." She said it was, now you're talking about people, when these people are working worse than, I hate to always use the word slave, it's not seem very appropriate here, but
It's
but
that's
you
the
should-
kind of work though.
yeah, but you should have seen these women working. You've never seen a woman till the soil with this spade that's like this, and they just turn over these things. I mean, you have to be massively strong.
Wow.
So, but when they worked, they used to sing. But there'd be a squad here, and there might be one across the street, and they would answer each other.
Oh, yeah.
And my mother said it was incredible. That's the simplicity of being a peasant. And
Yeah.
those people really were peasants.
Yeah, but it's, music is very Italian. The Italians invented music. The very language of music is Italian. It's not anything else. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Acknowledge that.
Yes.
Music is as Italian as pasta fagioli, to say something.
Not
Bravo.
spaghetti, pasta fagioli.
Bravo.
Okay. It's very Italian. In the early stages of music, you have the early Baroque era. All over Europe, when you went to all the courts in Europe, who did you find? You find Italian musicians, not anybody else. Then the Germans came along. But even during that part of it, to give an idea, Mozart, supreme composer, 6 operas, 5 in Italian, 1 in German. The one in German is never given it in any theater.
Yeah.
George Frederick Handel, 165 operas, all in Italian. So, music is very much an Italian thing.
And you want to juxtapose the 60s on our great Italian culture
That
I want to juxtapose it on your youth.
on our youths. We were youths.
The youths of the 60s.
Well, I think, at least for me, and again, I don't know, Inez, again, she's a slightly different era. We listened to all that stuff until Elvis Presley came around, okay?
Yeah.
And before that, it was Perry Como and Frank Sinatra
Yeah.
and those people, which to me was I liked Perry Como. He had these nice little bouncy songs. What's her name? The woman who did the Chevy Hour. Doris Day. Day. Now she was another one, right? But they were, what you call hallmarky, So then obviously the Beatles came along. Elvis came along, and that was revolutionary. Just revolutionary. Just really fun. Meantime, Haley,
Bill Haley.
Bill Haley was in there, and I can go on and on with those people of that era.
We talked about just the other day, you and I, doo-wop. Was doo-wop any kind of like an influence on you?
Yeah, it was because there was we also dressed a certain way, or at least the Greasers and the Hoods did.
Yeah.
In Darien, you really
Couldn't
did.
do that.
It was always pretty much Ivy League-ish or whatever the word I want.
Preppy.
Preppy. That's
Yeah.
the word I want to think.
Yeah.
Not that there were not kids that were rebels. Gary Herman was one who became a very, very successful gun dealer in Wilton. Very successful. Excuse me. There were people that, or they would mimic it. But Stanford and Norwalk, there was a much bigger
Yeah.
percentage of that, of
Yeah.
people. You know, who is that guy that's saying, all I can't think of the name now, but there were a lot of other sub-singers that they often call me Speedo, but my real name
Oh,
is...
the Cadillacs.
Yeah, okay, people like
Yeah.
that were in there. Gene Vincent, I can't remember the song right now, but
What about Eddie Cochran?
Eddie Cochran, yeah, there was a lot of them. But then you had that evolution, you might say, into the Beatles, but all of these other groups. Of all these other groups also. I mean, lots of them.
There are
Yeah.
so many of them. I even listen, for an Italian, I even listen to Chris Christopherson, Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
some great stuff there.
Yeah. Now, the country thing was always at that time a really esoteric thing. There were people. Now, they were smart and they really commercialized it. So Johnny Cash
Yeah.
had a CBS show and NBC
Yeah.
show. So it became, but remember, way back, it was really very twangy, if you will. Okay.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and stuff.
It was almost a regional thing.
Yeah, exactly. And then as you moved on, there were lots of, you know, the Eagles, that's a big jump, the Eagles or
Yeah.
all that stuff.
They're
All
coming
of-
from the same era, though.
Yeah, all of that music is obviously very personal for every person. I mean, you know, music really is. Now, you just mentioned all those songs. One of the operas that I have no idea where it comes is La Donna Immobile. Okay.
From Rigoletto.
Is that it? Yeah. And
Verdi's
I
opera.
always think I know the words, but I don't. But it's a great song. You know, che mi fa piangere e mi fa sospirare. It's a great, great song. It's an emotional song. And what the hell, why that struck me? It struck me, but that's
Yeah.
one of the songs I love.
Yeah.
But that's the power of music.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when you talk about, of course, all that music influences it. I mean, hard rock was vomiting for me, and I was in college at the time. You know, I mean that to me was the biggest con ever. People just beating the hell out of a guitar, or you raving and ranting. People bought into it, but that also brings us to the social thing that we went through between the 60s to the late 70s. And of course, I was in high school and college. When I was in college, acid was the big thing, okay?
Yeah.
It wasn't coke, it wasn't, you
No,
know,
yeah.
it was marijuana and acid. I mean, I saw kids get destroyed when I was in college. Guys I washed dishes with, you know, and we used to have these great conversations. They said, man, we got to throw some stuff down and have some really good talks. I said, yeah, let me know when we're going to do that. You know? So, again,
Yeah.
but now we're talking about people who get sucked into a culture without any values. They don't know what the hell they're doing or where it's going to take them or anything.
Sure.
So it goes back to that immigrants from whatever country. Ours happen to be Italian. Why would you be wasteful? Why would you throw things away? Why wouldn't you try to think about tomorrow? Why don't you build on something? Where's your satisfaction? You know, you want to find if I knew Gavone, if I knew, you know. So it's hard to, but I think it's good to jump back to that growing up with immigrant parents and just happen to be in Darien, which might have put a little more pressure on us. That's all. Yeah.
You got anything?
No, we'll talk about that after. Separately.
Did your parents hit you a lot when you were
A
little?
lot of threats.
A lot of threats. Oh.
But
Not mine, no.
No, okay.
no,
My mother did. My father was the calmest man in the world.
Yeah, same with me.
my mother had a temper. She would throw your shoe at you.
Okay.
You know, I've
So,
seen that.
I think there's a theme there. I think it's the mothers.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. My father.
No. Actually, Mommy would tell Daddy. Daddy would come after us, but he was the kind man.
Yeah, but when you really got him mad, and of course, I was a bit of a pain in the ass when I was a kid. I mean, I was just, I don't know who to describe me as, but, you know, question asking, you know, pushing it a little further, you know, than you should. And my father came home tired from work, you know.
yeah.
So he didn't need that. And you're a little kid, you know, what do you know? You know. So I recognize that. And I can remember getting him mad one time. And this guy was a physical guy. He wasn't a big guy, but I'm talking about physical.
Yeah,
I'm talking
yeah,
about strong. One time, remember how I used to sneak under the bed?
Both of us ran under the
He,
bed.
I saw him take the bed one time with one hand and lift the whole thing up. You know? I must have really got him mad. And then of course, my mother would say, no, 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 fa male, no, fa male, you know? He would take his strap off, you know.
Oh yeah, the belt.
Yeah, the belt.
That was the,
That's when it got
And then he
serious.
loosened
That
the
was the
belt.
warning.
Yeah, just reach for it,
Yeah.
and fear would go through your body.
But the thing
yeah.
is, it was one of those things where he had to really be angry.
Yeah.
You know, and it's too bad. And again, our parents, don't forget, were old when imagine they were 39 when they had their first kid.
Wow.
41 or 42 when they had their second kid.
Yeah.
Come on, my kids are 47. They got kids in college. You know, so
Yeah.
It was It was almost we had lost the generation. We were getting raised by grandparents, a value of grandparents,
Yes.
and not people who were really contemporary. You know,
Yeah.
so we also had a different kind of upbringing too. You know, because of the age of our parents.
Wow.
You know.
No,
It
know
was
it
more
was-
concentrated in the family, though.
Yeah.
It's a
Oh,
family
yeah,
unit.
yeah,
You know, you're not getting away from it.
Inez, what did 60s music mean anything to you? Or was it very, whatever kind of, like for I guess, 13 through 18?
Well, is that when American Bandstand was on?
I would think so. I mean, it started off as a black and white show.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that, and I did like all kinds of music. I still do. I never liked that.
Soul Train.
Was it Soul Train or that other one that my son liked? What was it called?
I don't think they had a TV show.
Metallica. I used to go crazy
I know, that's that
with
stuff.
that music.
It's like abstract art, you know.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Very abstract.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, American Bandstand, that was a shit.
American Bandstand was
What a
around
major
a long
powerhouse.
time.
Yeah, what a powerhouse.
And Dick Clark became
Dick
a
Clark.
major powerhouse in the music industry.
I remember being a little kid, my grandparents would watch Lawrence Welk religiously.
Oh, remember them? Yeah.
I was forced to watch that.
I know.
I
That
was
was
very-
I
terrible.
remember that. Yep.
That was terrible. And this is our.
I was watching
Yeah.
Soul Train.
Yeah,
What is Soul Train?
Soul Train was the channel Don
Don Cornelius.
And they had like 70 Soul, the Shy Lights, all that Motown bands. I think the Jacksons were too big for Soul Train, but like Shy Lights and maybe the Shirelles when their career
When they
before
started,
it started
yeah,
going out.
yeah.
Remember the Commodores?
Oh, see, those, I
things
did like
that,
all of
the
those.
Manhattans.
It was very American
The
Bandstand.
Commodores are nothing without their
Lionel
leader.
Richie.
Oh, absolutely.
They really
yeah.
are nothing.
And do you know where they're from? They're an Alabama band.
Is that right?
They're Alabama kids.
Well, the thing is,
still
they
around?
try and sing the.
They're still around, the
No,
Commodores?
well, Lionel Richie was the star, and he went on to astronomical
became
fame.
Fabulous, fabulous.
Yeah, but the rest of the guys he kind of left behind.
Great talent.
Yeah,
great talent.
very talented.
Yeah. But a great singer also.
Yes,
I mean,
he was a star.
I saw them, other people sing his song for once, twice, 3 times.
3 times a lady, yeah.
He does that better than anybody I've heard sing it.
Yeah.
So, just great. He was a
song-
writer,
They
too.
just got
Uncle
the
Tom, do you remember
moves.
Sail On?
They really do. He really does. When he sings, it's like
Yeah. It's like
he's saying something.
silk
Yeah.
on
And he
silk.
acts it. You can look at his face.
Well, I think most songs, when they're written, it's based on life experience. All the good songs, for sure.
Absolutely. Where else is it going to come from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least the good stuff, you know.
The good stuff,
and
for
it's
sure.
from the heart, absolutely.
Yep.
Uncle Tom, do you remember "Sail On"?
Oh, yeah.
That was a song that got me
Wait,
into, as
Sail
a child.
On. Wait, Sail
down
On
the
by who
Manhattan.
sang that?
The Commodores with Lionel Richie, though.
Okay.
And it was a ballad, and that was the one that really
Caught you.
caught me and wanted to play guitar because it's just a small little guitar piece on that. But that's what turned on the light for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Rod Stewart has a song that has that same.
There's a bunch. But, well, his early band's called The Faces, and that had a Rolling Stone kind of flair. But when he went solo, he had so many. Oh my God!
You know, now that you guys are saying, all these names start coming up, and I was like Linda Ronstadt.
Linda Ronstadt.
You know,
There's no Eagles without Linda Ronstadt.
she's the one who pushed them into place.
That was
I
her
watched
backing
that on
band.
I saw that on YouTube. Yeah,
That's her backing
And I remember
band.
they had her on, and I
How
said
about
our
Ray
favorite
Larson?
girl singer.
What you do
Yeah.
without it? Fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. There's so many now that when you start bringing it up, it's amazing. We did this one time. We sat outside, and this is years ago, and whatever piece of a music came up, you would either try to sing it or say it.
Yeah.
I mean, we must have spent hours doing that. It's amazing what gets engendered. You know, it really
Oh, yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really amazing to me. Yeah.
All right, guys. What we're going to do now is we got the signal that we're going to stop right now. If we could ask you to join us for a part 2, so to speak. We're going to wrap it up, and will you continue with us for a little while, and we'll get a part 2 going. And that will cover technology and family, I guess.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good.
All right,
Again,
guys.
let's
Guys,
thank
thank you.
Ted and the very tan Dom.
Yes. The man with the pan and the tan.
And remember, if you like what you see, subscribe, thumbs up, comment, good or bad, doesn't matter. You're not going to hurt our feelings.
We will get out of the car.
We definitely will get out of the car, no matter how big the car.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Guys, the Brotherhood has spoken. Tune in for part 2 with these 2 great men.
Yes.